My CEO seduced my wife. Here's what I learned, right? And so he deleted the Twitter and then he put it behind a paywall. So, which is even funnier, being like, my CEO fucked my wife and stole her. If you want the deets behind the, like subscribe to my Substack.
Just Silicon Valley gossip at this point.
But he's basically the first funny part is people immediately like went into his thing, and 4 posts ago he was a proud white dude for Harris, right?
Yeah, of course.
So
he worked at Amazon, so everyone assumed it was just Jeff Bezos.
It would be hilarious if it was Zos.
Yeah, but I don't think it was.
Zos has entered the building. Miami Zos.
Yeah, fucking all jack teed up.
Well, apparently the wife posted, because he's been going viral for all this stuff, and apparently the wife posted because he's trying to get clout off of like what an asshole and snake the CEO is, which may be true. The wife was like, just for the record, like, I kind of seduced him. And the guy was like, I still learned all these lessons.
Yeah, I still learned all these lessons, and I don't think a woman can seduce a man. So that was like, well, if he's a white dude for Harris, he subscribes to the whole power structure thing where he goes, well, if someone's your boss, like, you can't seduce your boss.
It's not
right? You can't seduce upwards. You can only seduce downwards. So he's like, no, that's not possible.
It's actually not possible for you to seduce your boss. He took advantage of you.
He took advantage of you. You think you seduced him, but in fact, he seduced you.
But he wrote a list of points that he's learned, and you can learn too from this experience. So this is
a very common thing for people to have happen. So this is really...
Silicon Valley really is split into 2 things where it's like real 2 camps, eh? Yeah. And you're very right about that, where the point of this, he's extrapolating all the lessons you learned. You're just like, yeah, this isn't really that common of a
This doesn't apply. Not a lot of people's wives are getting stolen by the CEO of their tech company.
The CEO of a startup I worked for seduced my wife in direct retaliation for my pushback in the office. Allegedly, he's been taking the wife's agency away a little bit, right?
Old school, yeah, oh, very much so.
He's like, oh, because I pushed back on the CEO, so then he banged my wife, and
bit of a cope, if you will.
And the wife's like, that's not what happened. Me and this guy had a thing because I liked him.
I hate you.
Again, I don't know all the details. This guy. It's hard for me to take his side when he's airing it out in public like this. Like, take the L in private, buddy. What are you doing?
That's what I would do.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, as a dude, anything that you put out there to, like, get sympathy is just, like, you can argue all you want that, like, people say, like, oh, well, men should talk about their problems more, and we need... Well, the fact of the case is we don't, and no one cares.
Nobody cares.
So when you're a guy being like, here's my sob story, the truth is, it's just like you're not getting sympathy. People aren't interested.
Nobody wants to hire you more because of this.
Girls think you're icky.
Yeah, you got the ick. But nobody wants to hire you. Like, if you're trying to be like, oh, this is going to get me some LinkedIn clout, get me a job, you're like, no. No, maybe some all-girl...
It might be that content at all costs.
Maybe some all-girl startup might hire you or something out of sympathy.
You know what I was kind of thinking of? It is, to some degree... I mean, I've talked about the grandmother treatment before. But girls, the lowest... So even if you're getting some sympathy, the... Women putting guy in the friend zone is the lowest they could put them.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that...
They would kill you. But that's illegal. Like, they would put you down like a dog.
It's true, right?
Yeah.
And I think the reason for why that's the lowest is girls see, like, their love of their life as, or someone that they're, in a relationship with of any sort. They see that as higher than a friend, right? Of
course.
Whereas a guys probably in some ways see friend as the highest.
Yeah.
Not always, but you know what I mean?
But yeah,
it's definitely like
a competition.
Right. So the lowest for a guy is the grandmother treatment, where it's not sexual. Like, a girl could be up to you and being like, I masturbated today, and you go, oh, speaking of sex, Haley's pregnant. That's how you would treat your, you know what I mean? Yeah. Any politics thing, she could, she tells you the show, she goes, Love Island's the best show in the world. You go, oh, it's very popular.
Oh,
like,
yes, yeah.
That's how you,
I hear that's the women your age do.
I actually know a friend that likes that. Like, that's how you would.
It's water cooler talk.
Water cooler, no controversy. That's the lowest that a guy can put someone, where it's just like, you've removed any sexuality whatsoever from this person. That's the lowest a guy can put someone.
There's no potentiality.
Lowest a girl will put you as in friend, because it's like one below her dog.
Yeah. Maybe not. Yeah. One below the
lower.
dog.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You're below. You're not even the hamster.
That's another thing I was sort of thinking, is that it's almost harder for... Because I was kind of asking this on stage before, like years ago, but like the question of who gets catfished more, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you could probably think there might be some arguments to be made for both, right?
Old people probably get catfished the most.
If
we take away gender,
you're right.
Old people get catfished a lot.
Yeah. I think that
Didn't we cover that one thing where like some woman thought she was like meeting up with George Clooney or something, and she like
there's a lot of those.
she, like sent him $100,000.
There's a lot
George
of those.
Clooney's like, I'm in a jam.
Oh, fake Chris Browns are getting sent so much money, dude. Fake Chris Browns are rolling in it right now. They're
It's
rolling
like some
in the dough.
grandma is like, oh, I think Chris Brown's interested in me.
Huge.
No, it's not the real. Chris
She's messaging
Brown.
her ex-husband like, I bet you're jealous now that I'm dating Chris
but it
Brown.
is guys for sure.
Probably, yeah. But the reason I wanted to add to it is the reason why it's very difficult for why girls get catfished less is because a guy sees what he believes to be a good-looking girl, goes on said date with said good-looking girl.
Yeah.
Girl, yet generally before she goes on a date with a guy, it's got the 9 screens up.
Yeah.
She's doing detective work.
Right.
So I would say...
And they build an emotional connection, like a stronger like connection via just like messaging. And
They got their
talking.
friends involved. I mean, it's very rare that if you were on the apps, you're going on a date with someone that you're like running it by all your friends,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think that this screening process is just way high for women. So that's probably one reason why they get catfish less.
Yeah.
On top of the fact
And
that
guys, like,
they're a
kind
little
of-
better with makeup. Guys are worse at faking it probably
Yeah,
too.
and guys will put on blinders too. Like they'll get excited if they think there's like some hot piece of ass waiting for them. And they'll
Yeah.
kinda start ignoring obvious signs. Like Lisa Ann posted something where she's
Only face photos 4,000 miles away.
Yeah.
I'm fucking in the jackpot.
like Lisa Ann posted something on Twitter the other day where she's like, if you get a DM from me, like if I'm sliding in your DMs, like that's not me.
Sure.
But she has to say that because there's imposters, and it's obviously becoming a problem where someone's like, "Oh shit, Lisa Ann messaged me out of the blue."
She just, loved my LinkedIn post.
Yeah, I love my or whatever. You're like, I'm like a plumber, and just Lisa Ann just found me online and just wanted to smash, and you're like, it doesn't happen.
Okay, well, go.
Like the only chick who ever messaged you wanting to smash happens to be Lisa Ann.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
That's a good point. You're like, you've never, you go, how many other girls have even messaged me? If you're a guy that you're like, my DMs are like filled with slews, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're like 0 messages other than Lisa Ann. You're like, damn, I still got it.
Last message was like your buddy from high school being like,
yeah.
how you
How are
doing?
things? Yeah,
How are
how's it
things,
been?
pal?
Yeah, I know.
Happy, it's just it's 3 happy birthdays from family members.
Yeah, happy Easter.
And then Lisa Ann looking to suck you off.
Damn. Fuck, man. I thought I lost my game, but
Yeah, so there's both, but I think that a part of it is that women go through an extensive screening process. Dude, they're detectives.
they are, yeah.
Yeah, every girl. I don't know. We've talked about this, but I don't know why every girl doesn't want to be a PI. They have the skills.
They do. It is weird. There is that one, I don't know if you've ever seen on TikTok, there is this one girl who is a PI, and she just films herself just on her missions, on her private investigative missions, just finding guys cheating.
Doesn't that seem like kind of like, I mean, she's running her own little cheaters, but like if I was hiring a PI, I'd be like, okay, but don't live stream.
Well, no, she doesn't show the people. It's like literally just her in her car, just kind of on the...
Does she show the area?
Maybe sometimes.
Guys got to be sweating if they see that on TikTok and they see
Well, that's what women
their
want,
house
though.
in the
That-
background.
Like women are just like, yes, be sweating.
They don't want, well, I guess, but they sort of want you to slip up. If a guy's buddy sends him, like, hey, just so you know, there's a PI outside your house. She keeps posting about it.
Oh yeah, no, it's not outside the house. It's always in like parking lots and shit and stuff like that.
That'd be funny if she found out she was not doing anything. Like her dad, she lives with her parents, and her dad's like, yeah, no, she does believe that she's a PI. But
I mean,
we're trying to make her see a psychologist
she's yet to close a case
or have a case.
or have a case. Yeah, she just sits in her car, fake PI. She goes, "Whoa, oh my god! It's like this guy's blowing 8 dudes in front of a Walmart. Crazy."
I mean, it's not impossible.
No.
I mean, probably the first rule of being a PI is don't be filming everything.
Well, that is the one thing where it's
the
like,
least sneaky thing you can possibly do
if
of
you,
all time.
well, if you blow up like and become super popular, your face, then you're like, well, then that's a problem because then people are like, oh, you're the PI.
sure.
Like, hey, aren't you that PI?
Well, it's like you're at a bar, and if you're at a bar, like with a mistress, and Greco shows up out of the blue.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You just read the newspaper, his face pops up. You're just like, oh, we're done here.
Jigs up.
Well, anyways, this guy has a long list of things. Well, it's not that long, 5, but he has 5 things he's learned from this, and you can take 2. So he goes, when you have a good manager, lean in and take advantage of it. Because some people, for example, if you do have a manager that's not banging your wife,
Yeah.
you need to remember that that's a positive.
It's a positive.
Spot the snakes. Generally, it doesn't take long to figure out who is a good person and who is only looking out for yourself. some of the
Sure.
some people might say the guy who bangs your wife falls in the other category.
Also, if you have
subtle signs,
if you have any work functions, don't bring your wife.
don't bring your wife.
Don't bring your wife. Say that, make up an excuse that she's not feeling well and just go solo and network.
Imagine like you're at a place and you're at like a comedy club and then someone bangs your wife and then you do a post of how to spot snakes at a comedy club. You go, what's your main thing that you've well, first of all, when they bang your wife, that's
number
right
one.
there. That is stamped sealed snake.
Yeah.
So do you have any other ones? It's like that's the main
main one that I'm kind of working.
So you're gonna want to watch out for when they bang your wife.
Yeah, that's a big
It's a
red
telltale
flag.
sign that this guy might be a snake.
Sure.
There are many ways to see through dishonest people. Every snake, even snakes need to get things done. So you can be valued for excellent work, even by nasty, dishonest people. So he's saying even if the guy's banging your wife, you don't want to completely take
it's
time
not really
off.
Good tips about anything.
Terrible,
I go,
brutal tips.
just like be good at your job, I guess.
like the worst article
It's like
of all
it's
time.
essentially just like do a good job regardless of who you work with.
Yeah, even if they're banging your wife.
Yeah, even if they have designs on your wife and family.
See if their actions match their words. So if, for example, they're saying they're not banging your wife and then they are banging your
Yeah.
wife, that might be a clue that
you said you're not banging my wife, but I came home and you were in bed with my wife.
Yeah, it's weird because you're saying you're not banging my wife, but then I walked in on you banging my wife and you admitted to banging my wife. So I have
So I'm starting to think when you said you couldn't get those reports done, that maybe you could get them done and you just chose not to.
the people that post this kind of stuff, the lack of shame you have to have.
I'm
For a
always
few
curious the
Substack
angle.
subscribers.
Like, yeah, like what was like his most desired outcome from this?
I think
Substack subscribers?
I think
Because I imagine his well's going to run pretty dry after this whole banging your wife stuff. Like, what's his next post about? You go, yeah, we came here for the banging your wife, how to not get your wife stolen.
on the contrary,
And then now you're like Excel shortcuts.
he might have many banging his wife stories. He's like, how to spot snakes at the grocery store, how to spot snakes in your bowling league,
How to not have your wife passed around your church.
how to spot someone that says they're religious but they're actually a snake at the church, how to spot a gardener that can't be trusted. How to spot family members that should not be trusted.
A lot of distrust material.
So it's possible he could be thick with these stories.
Sure. All right.
But anyways, I thought it was just probably the craziest thing in the world. But to answer your question of what do you think he's going to get from this, I think it was dual purpose, but obviously one of the purposes he thinks he's going to go viral. But I also do think...
he did go viral.
He didn't like going viral as much as he thought he would.
He did go very viral.
He didn't love going viral as much as he thought he would.
This is what this is like.
But I do think there is a bit in this where they expect that it's going to get them sympathy. Like, I think people are going to be like, I knew that there was a problem in Silicon Valley that no one's talking about. These guys are snakes. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah.
He might have got a few of those, but he got more of, what are you doing, buddy?
Getting dunked on, and he goes, "Oh, this is not the reaction I thought I was going to get."
Yeah, so I think that someone spends too much time around women.
Yeah.
They might not spend enough time around men. They start thinking that like oversharing is a good way to
Sure.
make friends.
I mean, if he did a post
that make
about
sense,
but
maybe?
if he did a post about like, "Oh, I got fucked over in this deal in Silicon Valley," probably then there would be like that would have accomplished that because a lot of people are like, "Yeah, you got to watch out making deals in Silicon."
Yeah.
Like that does. It's relatable, I guess, and people are like, "Yeah, I got fucked," but nobody can relate to this.
Yeah, it really is like my wife leaving me and the lessons I learned about Silicon Valley because of
Sure.
that.
People are like,
and you go,
okay.
I don't know if this is like a real Silicon Valley specific article.
Well, I mean, yeah, he worked at Amazon, I guess.
You just have to take his and the cherry on top is his wife came out and she was like, not really what shook down. Like me and him didn't have a good relationship, and
This guy's a loser, obviously.
not great. I mean, I'll tell you what, this is definitely not going to get him the pussy that he thought it would.
No.
Because that might have been the third dimension where he's like, he thought his DMs were going to fill up being like, you wouldn't have that from me.
No, tell us what co-parenting's like with this CEO. That's
Here, come cry in these. Thought he was going to get some of that.
Yeah. Sorry, bud.